Rain poured endlessly that night. The city glimmered under yellow streetlights, reflections rippling across wet roads like rivers of tears. David sat alone in his tiny apartment. The flickering fluorescent bulb hummed weakly above him. Empty bottles covered the table, and among them lay a crumpled note. "I'm sorry. I can't take this anymore." A year ago, David had everything: a stable job as an engineer, a kind wife named Sarah, and a little daughter, Emily, who called him Mommy's superhero. Then, one rainy afternoon, an accident took them both away. His world collapsed. He stopped praying, stopped living, stopped believing. The silence of heaven became unbearable. No answers, no comfort, only the sound of his own heartbeat echoing in the dark. That night, he left his apartment and wandered through the rain. The city was alive, cars, people, noise, but inside David there was nothing but emptiness. He walked for hours until he reached an old bridge. Beneath it, the river churned, black and merciless. He stared into the water and whispered, "If you're real, why did you let me lose everything?" No answer, only the rain. He climbed onto the railing. One more step, and it would all be over. "Don't!" A voice came from behind, calm, deep, and steady even through the storm. David turned sharply. Through the rain stood a man in a white coat, his hair wet, his eyes shining with an otherworldly light, gentle yet infinitely deep. "Who are you?" David demanded. "Someone who's been walking beside you," the man replied. David scoffed bitterly. "If you're some preacher, go away. My God is dead." The man took a step closer. "If I were dead," he said softly, "who do you think has been holding you back from the edge?" Lightning split the sky. In that brief flash, David saw the man's face clearly, kind, luminous, full of sorrow and love all at once. He trembled. "It can't be." The man placed a hand on his shoulder, warm despite the cold rain. "I've heard your cries, David. You thought you were alone, but I was there, every night, every tear, waiting for you to turn back." Tears burst from David's eyes. "Then why didn't you save them? Sarah, Emily, they were innocent. I would have given my life for them." The man's voice softened even more. "They were never lost. They came home before you. And you, David, you still have a path to walk. A heart that has known pain will understand the meaning of mercy." A warmth spread through him, deep, healing, alive. The rain no longer felt cold. When David blinked, the man was gone. Only silence remained, but for the first time in a long while, the silence didn't scare him. That night, he knelt on the floor of his apartment and whispered through tears, "If that was you, please, don't leave me again." In the days that followed, David began to change. He threw away the bottles. He cleaned the dust from the furniture and opened the curtains to let the morning light in. He returned to the old church where he and Sarah had been married. The congregation stared in disbelief as he walked in. Pastor Joseph embraced him, his voice trembling. "We've been praying for you, David." David couldn't reply. He just wept. Kneeling before the altar, he whispered, "I don't know how to start again, but I'm ready if it's your way." From that day on, he volunteered at the church, helping the homeless, teaching children from poor neighborhoods. At first, he did it to fill the void, but over time, every smile, every thank you, began to heal something inside him. One cold night, while distributing food beneath a bridge, he saw a little boy huddled under a torn blanket. "What's your name, kid?" "Michael," the boy whispered. David handed him a blanket. "It's freezing tonight. Come with me to the shelter." "No," Michael said, shaking his head. "My mom told me to wait. She said she'd come back." Something in that boy's eyes pierced David's heart. It was Emily's gaze all over again. He sat beside Michael, waiting. The rain started again. David wrapped his own coat around the boy to keep him warm. By dawn, they found Michael's mother, unconscious from exhaustion, taken to the hospital. David stayed with them, helped them find a place to live, visited every day. That night, as he returned home, a gentle voice echoed in his heart. "When you held that child, David, you were holding me." He fell to his knees and wept, this time not from sorrow, but from joy. From then on, David truly lived again. He opened a small community center called the Lighthouse, a place where the homeless, the lost, and the hopeless could find shelter, food, and a little warmth of faith. There were no spectacular miracles, no angels in the sky, no thunderous light, but there were small, real miracles. A man addicted to drugs finding strength to recover. An old woman smiling again after years of loneliness. A child whispering, "Thank you, Jesus," before every meal. One winter night, the power went out during a storm. The whole center fell into darkness. People panicked. David lit candles, walking through each room to calm everyone down. Suddenly, a brilliant light shone through the window, illuminating the altar, not from a bulb, not from the candles. It formed the shape of a glowing cross on the wall. No one spoke. No one dared to move. Tears fell silently. "You're still here," David whispered. From that day, people began calling the place the House of Light. Years passed. David grew old, his hair silver, his hands rough, but his eyes still gentle and bright. The lighthouse had grown. Hundreds of people came every month, seeking hope. One evening after prayer, David sat alone on a wooden bench. Outside, the sunset bathed the city in violet gold. He closed his eyes, smiling peacefully. Then a familiar voice came through the breeze. "You've done well, my son." He opened his eyes. Before him stood the man in white, unchanged, radiant with that same gentle light. "I told you I'd never leave," the man said, smiling. David fell to his knees, tears glistening. "I'm not worthy. No one ever is, but love makes you enough." He reached out and touched David's shoulder. A soft glow spread across the room, warm, tender, eternal. David smiled one last time. "I'm ready." The next morning, they found him sitting peacefully in his chair, a faint smile on his lips, a Bible in his hands. Sunlight streamed through the window, wrapping him in a gentle golden halo. On the table beside him lay a handwritten note. "If you are suffering, don't believe you've been abandoned. Even in your darkest night, God is reaching for you. Open your heart, the light will find you." Word of David and the House of Light spread across the city. People came, not only for food or shelter, but to rediscover faith they thought they had lost. And sometimes on rainy evenings, visitors swore they saw a man in white walking silently among the benches, smiling softly before fading into the light. The light shines in the darkness, and the darkness has not overcome it.